What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Player Ratings. As Spurs lost by 2-1 at St James's Park, which you've got to say was a much better display than we've turned out there the last couple of years. Disappointing and frustrating to not come away with anything with the level of performance there, but it is same old stories and not taking your chances, getting sucker punched at the other end. We're going to start off with Vicario. I'm going to give him a 6. I mean, I don't think he had much to do throughout the game, to be honest. Newcastle hardly tested him. The two chances that they did score from, I don't think he could have done anything from the first. Second one, he is caught in a bit of no man's land where he squares it into Isaac, who has an empty net to aim at. But what I did think he did well was commanding of the box, crosses. He usually comes under a lot of pressure, especially like places like St James's Park, and I felt like he dealt with that really well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. He made one good save from Jacob Murphy in that second half when we were at 1-1, and that could have made it 2-1 at that point, I think, or it might have been at 2-1 actually. But there was a breakaway where Murphy had a chance that he made a save. Apart from that, I don't remember too many other saves from Vicario. But as you say, he was much better dealing with set pieces, getting hands on it, getting punches on it, getting counter attack. So that was good. On the ball, he was pretty decent in terms of power playing. Not too many mistakes, not any mistakes actually. I can remember. Apart from one, I think he played out of play. So yeah, I'm going to give him a 7.
Pedro Porro up next. I'm going to give him a 6 as well. I did feel like there was a couple of times where he got caught out in the defensive position. Going forward as well, I don't think he brought us what he usually does bring us in the attack with his long-range passes. But he did have a couple of attempts, or maybe one attempt on goal. I just don't think it was maybe up to the levels as it was previous couple of games.
Yeah, I think we tried a lot of short set pieces, and he was looking quite inventive from them. Obviously, there was that one really good set piece routine which they engineered to get Porro a shot, but unfortunately Porro's shot was deflected. He also got a really good cross in for Romero's goal, which unfortunately was ruled off offside, but was a brilliant cross from Porro. I think on the ball, the quality he has. I think defensively he was pretty good, but obviously I don't think he covered himself in too much glory for the opening goal. Switched off a bit, allowed Lloyd Kelly to get that cross in to find Harvey Barnes, and I think he'll be disappointed he didn't stop that. But I actually thought, whether it be Barnes or Gordon, I don't remember too much influence they had on the game, so on that side. So I think he did pretty well, but he'll be disappointed with the goal we conceded. So I'll give him a 6.
Cuti Romero up next. I'm going to give him a 6 as well. I think look, he defended well for the most part. He was being really aggressive, stepping into the midfield on the left-hand side of the defence, which was kind of a bit unorthodox from which usually is on the right. But for the 2 goals that we conceded, I do think he was poor. He does get caught up the pitch, and look, he needs to be, in these moments, have his wits about him. And I know that's the kind of player he is. He likes to be aggressive, get aggressive moments up the pitch, and he is caught out of position sometimes. But in games like this, where you're dominating the ball, when you're in the ascendancy, we just get caught out way too many times, and I think he's a part of it.
Yeah, it was just one long straight ball, and I think Romero switched off a bit. I actually thought, obviously, him playing on the left-hand side of the defence this time, I still think he put in a pretty solid display for most of it. I'm also going to give him a 6, but I think definitely for the second goal, he'll be mightily disappointed. The fact he just lets Murphy run off him, and Murphy gets a 2-on-1 with the goalkeeper with Isaac there, and Romero kind of wasn't aware of where Murphy was. I think he'll be disappointed with that, albeit if they were playing an offside trap, you've got to play Dragusin, but if they weren't, I think Romero is definitely at fault. I don't think he looked as comfortable on the left-hand side as he usually does on the right-hand side, especially with his passing out the back. I definitely think he likes to pass it from that angle where he is on the right. I definitely think we saw a bit less of that passing ability that we know he has. But I still think, defensively, most of the time he was pretty solid, but he'll be really disappointed with his role in the goal.
Dragusin up next. I'm going to give him a 7. I thought he was the better of the back two. Really aggressive, some really great challenges in the box as well. There was one, obviously, standout one from Isaac where it looked like Dragusin had no right to get to the ball, and he slides in. Maybe to the naked eye it looked like it could have been a penalty, but he got the ball for sure, and it was a top challenge. But I felt throughout the game, apart from maybe the one moment where we did concede, where he was playing the player on, I think he had a really good game throughout, and I was really happy with his display.
Yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. I thought he was actually really good, and obviously, again, as I say, with the second goal, he'll be a bit disappointed. He was caught a couple yards deeper, which kept Murphy on side, and if they were playing a high line to keep the offside trap, Dragusin probably got to step up. Be interesting to see the analysis on that if Ange ever says if that's what they're trying to do. But I thought by and large he was phenomenal from all his defensive actions. I thought he was super aggressive on the halfway line. He was also mopping up really well, Van der Ven-esque over the top as well. I think we weren't caught out too many times. You'd be worried without Van der Ven that Isaac and all their Gordon, people like that were going to get in time and time again. That didn't happen. I think a large part was due to Dragusin, his positioning and his aggressive nature. So I think he stepped in really, really well, and really happy for him. But unfortunately, it was to no avail.
Destiny Udogie up next. I'm going to give him a 6, maybe a 5, to be honest, because I felt like he definitely needs to be doing better for the goal that when the cross comes in. I think he needs to be cutting that out. And I don't think he influenced the attack as we know he does. He's usually like a bull in a china shop, just charging up that left-hand side or through the middle of the park and getting into really good positions. But I felt like he kind of failed to do that in this game. Yeah,
I feel like he's struggling a bit late in games, and in terms of his fitness. I don't know when the goal was scored. Was that about the 72nd minute?
Yeah, something like that.
So I think these last 20 minutes, I can see him getting a bit leggy, and I think that's if you see him trying
He's
to
come back from a long injury.
If you see him trying to catch Murphy for that goal, he gets nowhere near him, and you think, I know Murphy can be quite quick, but you would have thought Udogie, at full fitness would have been at least getting a lot closer to him.
Ange did say last week, we're trying to get as much football into his legs as possible, which suggests to me he's not fully fit.
Yeah, but in that case, maybe you should have brought on Spence for the last bit of the game, because I think as much as Romero got caught, I think Udogie also got caught on his heels a bit as well in that situation, and didn't get round the back of Jacob Murphy, who after he ran off Romero, and I think Udogie fully fit probably catches Murphy in that situation, but he actually got worryingly ill. In fact, when if you see where Murphy puts it, the pass to Isaac, Udogie's kind of tripping up. Because he just can't catch him. So I think he'll be disappointed with that. I think when he's going forward, I still don't feel like it's this 100% confident in Udogie just yet, in terms of maybe he still needs to trust his body again after that injury. I think there were some good things. I still think when he takes the ball into feet and charges forward, he's still really good at that and holding off people with his physicality. But I feel like when he's going forward and really has to get to the byline or get a ball in, we didn't see enough of that from Udogie yesterday. So I'm going to give him a 6. I'm going to give him a 6.
Next up, Bissouma. I'm going to give him a 7. I thought Bissouma played a really good game again. Really combative in the middle of the park. He was winning the ball back countless amount of times. He was driving us forward as well. Didn't have maybe the passing on show like he had in the last game, but I still think it's a positive performance from Biss.
Yeah, I was happy with Biss. I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I thought he actually maintained control of that midfield, especially when Maddison and Kulusevski were together. He had a lot more responsibility, and in fact I think he relished in that, and we looked even better when that was the case. I think him in the 6 again, another really solid display. I think Newcastle didn't live with him too much. I don't think he was too much troubled by. Can't remember too much of an influence Guimaraes had. I know John Linton obviously set up the goal for Murphy in the second goal, but I thought other than that also he had limited influence. I think Bissouma's control in that midfield helped that a lot, and I think he was dropping back when he needed to, although I do think he'll be disappointed with the first goal. Kind of again switched off from that throw-in, allowed Barnes just free, and if you look at the goal, Bissouma's not marking anyone. I'm not saying it was his man necessarily, but if you're in the box, you're not marking anyone, and someone's free in the box and scores,
he's got to pick someone out.
Someone's got to take. I mean, again, if I have to watch the goal back, I'm not 100% sure whose man it was who we lost, but all I know is Bissouma wasn't marking anyone, and maybe if it's not an organisation thing or his responsibility thing, he's got to be better.
Pape Matar Sarr up next. I'm going to give him, I'm not sure what to give him, a 6 or a 7, but I was fairly happy with his display. I felt like it was his best display so far this season. Very combative in the middle of the park. His pressing was really good, and he was influencing the attack as well, where he was getting forward, getting shots off, being that option on the edge of the area to take that long shots, which we've been calling for some time. Unfortunate for him, he did get that booking, so he got taken off at half time, and to be honest, we were better off for it when he did go off the pitch. So good change from Ange. Unfortunately that he had to go off, but I thought he had a good display. I'll give him a 6.5.
Yeah, I thought he was all right, actually. I know he was a bit harsh him taking off at half-time, but he had a couple of really good efforts on goal, which Pope was equal to. I don't think either of them were really in danger of going in, but still some good efforts which Pope wasn't able to handle. We got corners out of both situations. I thought he was quite good with it. As you say, I thought his pressing was really solid. He was actually... I still think in the final third, in those situations where Decky's looking for like a little 1-2 or that little bit of inventive creativeness, when Sarr's in those situations occasions. We don't quite get that just yet from him. We do get powerful running and kind of, if there's a pass, there's a progressive pass straight, a through ball or something, he sometimes he's able to spot it. But when he's looking to be a bit nimble in tight areas, he's still lacking in that, and that's maybe why we looked a bit better with Decky on the pitch. So I'm going to give him a 6.
Next up is James Maddison. I'm going to give him a 6 as well. I thought he didn't have the right influence in that first half, to be honest. I don't think he was too involved in our play going forward, but he did come alive a bit in the second half. He took that shot which forced a really good save out of Pope. It was his shot that led to our first goal, well, to our goal as well with Brennan Johnson. So those were good moments for him. But I felt like he should have blocked that cross for Newcastle's first goal.
Who, Maddison?
Yeah.
Yeah, after was it him trying to block the cross? Was it? I have to watch that back again. But yeah, I think Madders, I was pretty happy with that. I'm going to give him a 7, actually. I think first half, I was a bit disappointed with his overall play, but I thought set pieces were solid. I thought, actually, he had some really creative routines. Clearly, they've trained on a few things on the training ground with it, and I think they nearly came off on a couple of occasions for him. Second half, I really thought he came alive, and I thought him next to Decky, there was some really good link-up play between the two. All of a sudden, he was finding a lot more space. He was able to do things, taking more shots, which we've been calling for as well, and obviously it led to the goal, one of his efforts, which Pope couldn't handle. So I thought second half he was a lot better, and I was actually, again, a bit more like the Maddison we've seen in the first 2 games. So I'm going to give him a 7.
Odobert up next. I'm going to give him a 5. Started off on the right wing, moved over to the left wing. From the right wing, he was pretty ineffective. I felt like he struggled to take on his man. He struggled to get quality into the box. And on the left wing, he did look a bit better, and he was looking to be more incisive and get more involved. And he did get more involved, but I was still a bit disappointed. He was good at like knitting the play together, but when he was asked to take on his man and get balls into the box, I still thought it was a bit poor.
Yeah, and obviously he missed out a massive chance near the back post, which he glazed over the bar. He'll be really disappointed with that. That was probably the best chance that we missed. I think that was at 1-0 though anyway, so we did get back to 1-1, but if he would have scored that a bit earlier, like he would have, could have made a bit of a difference. I agree with you. I think on the right-hand side, didn't quite click for him. He wasn't really getting to the outside like Brennan does. I felt like he kept wanting to cut inside. What I do like about him is there are some moments in general play where I feel like Brennan would have lost the ball, where I feel like Odobert's a bit sharper. He gets in front of people. He's actually good at keeping the ball. Yeah, he's actually quite good. He actually finds a way just to get it off to a man, where I feel like Brennan in certain situations doesn't have the flexibility to kind of go a few different directions. But when he did go back to the left-hand side in the second half, looked a lot more effective. But again, his final ball was a bit frustrating. There was a couple of moments where we won the ball high up the pitch. There was a 2-on-2 situation, I remember. We gave it to Odobert. He had a chance to just cut into the centre and shoot, and unfortunately his shot was blocked. And obviously he did miss that big glaring opportunity. So he's definitely clearly a work in progress. He's definitely clearly got a lot of talent. Even in this game, you could see that. But when it comes to just being really effective in the final third, getting those goal contributions, and like when he's got an opportunity to either play a pass or get a shot off, still a bit missing at the moment, it seems, with him. But still a fairly bright game. I'm going to give him a 6.
Next up is Son Heung-min. I'm going to give him a 6 as well. A lot of hard yards. He put in a lot of effort into this game. I thought his pressing was really good. He won the ball back a couple of times high up the pitch. He didn't really have too much goalmouth action, which was unfortunate. I felt like when he was on the left, he wasn't cutting in enough to create those goal-scoring opportunities. There was a couple of times he did it, but he hesitated and didn't take the shot. And when he was in the number 9, I felt like he was just being crowded out way too much. And he was good at linking up the play, but unfortunately didn't see too much goalmouth action.
I thought him on the left-hand side first half actually wasn't too bad. I thought he actually gave Livramento a bit of a tough time, I thought, on that left-hand side. And a few times he was able to get to the byline, get a whip across in. Unfortunately, the crosses weren't with the best quality, but I thought he was able to do it and, do that job. I thought there was that one moment where he nutmegged Livramento as well, earned himself a free kick in that situation. I thought he was looking bright. He then moves to the centre. I actually thought for the first 20 minutes of that half or so, when the game was open for us, he was looking quite dangerous. I remember there was one moment he won the ball high up the pitch and he had a chance to get into the box and take a shot. Again, the shot was blocked, unfortunately, when there was a good opportunity for him. So he was looking bright, but I felt like as soon as they went 2-1 to Newcastle and they kind of shut up shop, clogged up the penalty area, he became really ineffective and wasn't able to influence the game for the last 20 minutes or so, and that was a big shame. But I thought overall actually was decent from Sonny. I don't think he had a bad game, so I'm going to give him a 7.
And last but not least from the starting 11 is Dejan Kulusevski, who I'm going to give a 7 to. Started off in the false nine, which I thought he was causing Newcastle problems. His physical presence in there was definitely doing us the world of good. He was pressing, he was winning the ball back, and he was just causing a complete nuisance for himself. And then when he dropped down deep into the 10 position or the 8, whichever one you want to call it, in the second half, I felt like he was being able to influence the game a lot more, knitting the play together, getting involved a lot more, and still using that body to win the ball back high up the pitch. Unfortunately, not much came from him winning the ball back high up the pitch, but I felt he was doing a really good job for the team, and yeah, one of our better players.
Yeah, I was really happy with Decky. I'm getting him a 7 as well. Carries on his good start to the season. I thought in the 9 he was good. I thought not much of a goal threat, unfortunately, but I think in terms of making the ball stick and keeping Newcastle penned in, he did quite a good job. I think he was did some good work in the build-up to a few SAR efforts, and I think when it comes to him in the false 9, I think he struggled to really impact the game when it came to really creating chances or scoring, but I think when it came to our overall control, he was good. But when he went to the 8, I thought he got a lot more involved in the game in terms of really trying to open up Newcastle. I think he did some really good stuff when it came in and around the penalty box and setting up chances. I thought he was linking up really well Maddison, and but there was one moment really frustrated me. We had like a 3-on-2 in our favour.
Yeah, and he went for the wrong ball.
And he had Brennan to the right, who was completely free, and he had Son and I think Odobert to the left, or Werner I think it was, and it's just the wrong option. He went for those two when Johnson was to his right completely free, and that was a moment which will frustrate probably him and probably Ange as well. But I think overall, I think the team looked a lot better with him in the 8 when he was next to Maddison, and it'll be interesting to see what Ange does going forward, because by and large, since he's taken over, he's wanted like a very combative number 8, like a Sarr or Bentancur. But Decky, I think, is starting to show what he can do next to Maddison. The only problem is I looked at some of his stats, he only won 2 of 11 ground duels, so that'd be a bit disappointing.
I felt like Decky was a big reason in that second half how we were able to sustain that pressure, how we were able to keep it in Newcastle's half for the majority of it. And I agree with you, I really like him in that position, but I also like him in the 9. But once Dom Solanke comes back, I don't think Kulusevski will see much time in the 9. Moving on to the subs, Brennan came on for Sarr at half time, and I felt like he was our man of the match, Brennan. I'm going to give him an 8. I was so impressed with him. He's come under a lot of criticism, but he was our attacker with the most asking the most questions out of Newcastle. Was getting the ball on the right-hand side, and he just kept attacking that right-hand side relentlessly, beating his man, getting good balls in the box without anyone being in the box, and obviously gets on the end and scores the goal that grabs us back in the game as well. So I was really happy with Brennan, and pressing high up the pitch as well. So I think from all facets, Brennan played a really good game yesterday.
Yeah, my man of the... my man of the match was Brennan for sure. I'm also going to give him an 8 out of 10. I thought when he came on the right hand side, he was just a non-stop problems for Newcastle down that right hand side. I think Dan Burn didn't have to live with him. Obviously, he kind of got the goal. Unfortunately, actually, it wasn't going in. It was actually a brilliant save from Pope, but obviously he turned it in, and he was massively involved getting to our back post. But every time we got onto him, it was a threat. He was either whipping a ball across the face of goal, or he was just causing problems, being a nuisance. There was at one moment where he wins the ball half the pitch. He makes a tackle off Gordon, and then he sprints and beats Dan Burn to the other tackle, and he sprints past 2 players. Unfortunately, his ball to Sonny was just a bit undercooked, but obviously he set up that chance for Odobert as well from a deflected cross, which Odobert should have put away. So I thought he was fantastic. I thought he definitely proved a lot of people. I wouldn't say proved them wrong after one game, but obviously, as you say, first 2 games he hasn't played well, but he was fantastic coming off the bench. But then again, it shows, maybe it proves what a lot of people were saying about him. I mean, he's a better super sub when he does rather than him starting. So maybe there is some justification to that. But I thought he was phenomenal in that second half, and by far and away our best player. So yeah, I gave him an 8 out of 10. Absolutely. Moving on to the subs. That was a sub. Moving on to the next sub, Timo Werner. He came on with, half an hour to go, 20 minutes to go? Yeah, he came on for Odobert, around the... 20 minutes to go or something like that. I thought he was really poor once again. I'm going to give him a 4. Didn't contribute to the attack, didn't show any real signs of quality, really poor. Yeah, anonymous, I felt. Again, similar to Son, I felt like when teams are in that mode where they're low block, he becomes ineffective. He needs space to play in. And I feel like bringing Timo Werner on when you need a goal sometimes doesn't really work. So I don't think it worked on this occasion. In fact, you probably want an Odobert in those situations more than you want a Werner, don't you? So unfortunately, I'm going to give him a 4 as well. Didn't do so well. Bergvall came on for a bit.
He was a bit too late. He didn't really influence.
I think 10 minutes to go, he came on for Maddison, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Maddison.
Yeah, didn't get too involved, unfortunately, especially in and around the penalty area. Wasn't able to create anything. Who else came on? And who else came on?
That was it.
Yeah, I think that was. Yeah, just those three, I think.
And Ange Postecoglou, I'm going to give him a 7. I think he set us up to win the game. We were dominant throughout. It's not his fault that we couldn't put away our chances, but what is his fault is the setup of the defence and how we keep conceding these really easy chances when we were on top. So he's got to take accountability for that. He's got to rectify that. And yeah, look, I'm happy with the general performance. We should have won the game. We played well enough to win the game, but he's got to work on this defensive structure because this is going to keep happening.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6. I think game management was pretty good in overall. I think the fact that we reacted so well in the second half, he made that change, made a positive impact on the team. I'm going to give him credit for that. And the fact that we didn't crumble like we have in previous years in Newcastle, where we concede one, all of a sudden it's 2 and 3 very quickly. That didn't happen this time. Not only did it not happen, but we actually equalised and got back in the game. But these sucker punches are I don't think they're no coincidence they keep happening. It's the way we are set up. And if when we're missing too many chances, there's always a chance that we do kind of get sucker punched. That's exactly what happened. And I don't think Ange can kind of complain when the defence is set up in the way that it is. But as well, I also think I have some sympathy in the fact that he's got to, the players on the pitch have got to take some responsibility for when they have those chances. They just got to put them away. They've got to be a bit more ruthless, got to be more clinical. Then again, is that a quality issue? You know, we've complained about some of the players. Not complain, but like you look at our forward line, with Odobert, Werner being the additions who were on show yesterday. Are they of the required quality right now to close the gap? Still big question marks on that. And I think yesterday and the Leicester game are showing that, you know, are these players ruthless enough? I think the jury's still out on that. So. Yeah. But hopefully, once Solanke comes in, I actually think if Solanke played yesterday, that would have made a massive difference, not just to the chances being put away, but also how we can hold the ball up even more in those central areas and how we're able to get the ball into him. So I have some sympathy, but I'm going to give him a 6.
All right, well, there you have it. That is our player ratings for the 2-1 loss against Newcastle yesterday. Put your ratings in the comment section below. Thank you very much for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.